All right, I'm Luke, founder of Beyond the Yellow, and I'm here today with John Shaw. He is the peer support counselor for uh, veterans of Wisconsin, right?
Veterans
Veterans,
Outreach. Yep.
Veterans Outreach of Wisconsin. Yes. So, John, I want to start off with tell me a little bit about yourself and your organization, what you guys do.
Yeah, absolutely. So first, thanks for having me. Appreciate being on here to advance the cause of our organization and vets. So I'm an Air Force vet myself. I did 23 years. So lived all over the world, saw the good and the bad that vets do. So it gives us a different perspective on life and what people worry about in the regular world, and then you have your vet world of what we worry about, which can be a little bit different. So yeah, I retired in 2022 from the Air Force, and then came up to Racine, Wisconsin. So my wife's from Racine. We've been coming up here for over 20 years to visit. So we've seen the area grow, bring in businesses, corporations. So when it came to retire, it was kind of like a no-brainer for us to come up here, just not for my opportunity, my wife's opportunities, but for our sons as well, because there was a lot going on in Southeast Wisconsin. So as I was separating from the Air Force, I went through my transition assistance stuff, classes, and everybody's like, go get a corporate job and go make your money. Go chase it. Go get it. So that's what I was like, all right, gotta go corporate, gotta go sit in that cubicle and make that money. And that's what I did for over 2.5 years. But I couldn't bite into the mission. I couldn't get behind what they were doing like I used to have in the military, in the Air Force. It just wasn't the same camaraderie. And I missed that. I missed that purpose. So after 2.5 years, I said, I got to get back in the community. I got to start doing something that matters to me and gives back, that I can see. So I started looking, and then I saw the Veterans Outreach of Wisconsin. So I, Googled them and searched them and said, man, that's a mission I can get behind. So started almost 5 months ago, and haven't looked back since. But it was a good transition for me, and I'm so glad I did it. Money's not everything. Especially when you're a part of an organization like this, that you can directly see your impact and what you're doing and how it helps. So Veterans Outreach Wisconsin started 2014. So James Peterson was a local vet here, and he always gave back to the veteran community. And he was on his way home one night on his motorcycle and was killed by a drunk driver. So his buddies in the community said, let's advance what this guy was doing. So that's where Veterans Outreach of Wisconsin started. That was the whole premise of our beginning. And that was in 2014. So in 2017, we started with some houses, started with 15. So 15 tiny homes that we were able to bring at-risk and homeless vets off the street and into our community and get them back on their feet. And that's where it started. So that was 2014. The idea came about. By 2017, we had 15 homes. And then we had added the marketplace across the street, where we get our donations of food, non-perishables. We get frozen meats, veg. Started that. And now we had about a year and a half ago, we had 450 families a month. Fast forward to today, we're at 950 families. In a year and a half, we've seen that much increase. And some days our marketplace is stacked, and some days it's not. So it just depends. But just seeing the numbers increase that much gives you an idea of why this is needed.
Right. That's an impressive amount of people.
Yeah, and it's vets and their spouses. So if the vet passes, we don't want to cut that spouse off from the services they were getting. So surviving spouses can also shop there, and it's all free. This is, they don't pay a dime. They just come in and prove their vet status, and they shop.
That's amazing. You said something earlier there about when you got into the corporate world that really resonated with me. And I think that a lot of vets do as well. And it's the mission. That's a big part that when we leave the military, like you've got this big mission. You're doing great, like big things. I don't want to necessarily say great things because everyone's got a different opinion on.
Yeah.
But you're doing things that make a huge difference and that matter. And when we come out, it's often really hard to find that. And that's something, it's like you said, about the money. Like money makes a difference. We do have to have money, but I'm a firm believer in how we make our money is more important than how much we make. And I think you're proving that with what you're talking about here. You came out, you had the opportunity to have a big paying corporate job. And then you decided, hey, this is not for us. So I like that.
You can't take it with you.
No. I saw something the other day. It said, you'll never see a U-Haul following a hearse.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that. Yeah.
And as I was saying earlier, vets have a different outlook in life. And, seeing the world, the good and the bad, you see how some of these regions that people are in the Middle East and in Asia, some towns have mud huts and they live there, or straw huts, and they survive off the land. And then you come back to America and you're like, we got a pretty good thing here. So I don't need a lot, it's I've got my little piece of land in Southeast Wisconsin. I'm content. I'm happy. I don't need to travel the world anymore. As a matter of fact, I told myself when I retired, I'm never leaving the continental United States again. Traveling. I travel too much.
Yeah. I hear there's nice places, outside the United States. Not that I've seen, but
I mean, it really, when you travel the world, that opens your eyes to how these other countries and people live their lives, and it's different than what we do. It's you go to Europe and they shop daily for their food. Like they go to downtown to the market and they get fresh produce, fresh meats, and they take it home. Like they don't pack their freezers full like we do.
Right.
So it's just little things like that you pick up along the way, and it just kind of sticks with you a little bit. So
it changed the perspective, and it's funny. Like I know my wife hates when I say this all the time, but I always say, man, if these are our problems, like if these are the things that actually make it on our radar, that shows how great of a life we have. If you're upset because like, oh man, I had, Walmart deliver my groceries and they didn't have this. Like, that's a good problem to have. Life's fantastic.
When I came back from overseas, I had 8 years in Europe consecutively, and I came back to the States, and Walmart was open on a Sunday, and I was like, "Do we have things open on the weekends here?" Oh yeah, we do. So it's little things like that kind of bring you back to a reality of the American life. So when we came back from Afghanistan, I remember just being so excited because it's like, man, I can eat whatever I want. I can go to the store and get whatever I want. I can have them deliver whatever I want. I can go somewhere and say, hey, this is exactly what I want. You're going to make it how I want you to make it. Or I can sit at home, like Ron Weiss said, naked on my beanbag chair. And tell someone, bring me exactly what I want. Like, exactly. This is crazy. I remember the first time after we got back, I saw someone driving down the road with one of those houses on a trailer, the prefab homes. Like, what an amazing Yeah.
country we live in. You can say, I want that house, but I want it over here.
Yep.
Just crazy. And
yeah. And, you know, I'll go back to, because of our experiences as veterans, we experience things that the majority of the population do not. You know, we're 1% of the population in the first place. So 1% of the American population serves. And then we have very unique experiences in our service, good and bad. That the rest of the public just they don't experience. So we bring home unique challenges back. And so, you know, sometimes it gives us strength, and sometimes it makes challenges and getting through those obstacles hard. Which is why we're here, because life happens. You never know what's going to happen when you wake up that morning and say, well, nothing bad's going to happen. You never know.
right.
So we are here and at our Veterans Outreach in Wisconsin to help those vets that are stumbling, that are having trouble reintegrating back into the community, that are having trouble maintaining a job, maintaining finances. Maybe they're struggling with an addiction of some sort. So we always want to get our name out there and let Southeast Wisconsin know, hey, we are here. We are ready to assist in any way that we can to get this veteran in the right headspace, in the right physical, spiritual. It's a whole person concept that we bring them in and we get them back to the space that they need to be. So we're set up to do that. And the only reason we can do that is through donations. So we're a 501(c)(3) nonprofit. So all the money that comes to this organization from corporations or donors goes straight back to our vets. We don't take corporate retreats. We don't buy the staff all this cool stuff. Like, no, the local money that we get goes straight back into our vets, into our marketplace, and into our tiny homes. So speaking of that, we've had an addition recently. So like I said, in 2017, we had 15 tiny homes. We just had a generous donation from the Walls Construction Company. They financed 3 brand new tiny homes for us that are on property now. And then we had a local high school, Horlick High School. They have a shop class. They came over and we're finishing up their tiny home. So now we have 20 tiny homes on the property, 2 acres, 20 tiny homes. So we're able to host 20 vets off the street. And, you know, people are like, well, yeah, that's great. We're getting folks in, we're helping them, and we are. But the thing that I've noticed since I've been here, we'll get calls from California. We'll get calls from Las Vegas. And people will come up here. Like we have a Vegas resident. Yep. And we have a Texas resident. So it's not just Southeast Wisconsin. We get vets from Green Bay. We get vets from Rhinelander. All over Wisconsin and honestly all over the states.
Wow.
So there's a bigger problem out there that is not being addressed for homeless veterans. That if I have a homeless vet that somehow found out about us in Wisconsin, California or Texas, what is going on? They need to reach up all the way up here to get the support that they need.
That's,
you know, it's sad, but it just shows you how much this need is for our vets out there.
That's a really, really good way to look at it, the perspective there. Yeah, if there's people that are from that far away,
yeah,
and you guys are the closest resource to them, that
it's what they know about. I'm sure there's other resources. You know, the VA has their homeless stuff, but
yeah.
And that's another thing I've noticed too with some vets. Once they separate, they want nothing to do with the VA. They want nothing to do with the government. They just go their own way. You know, when I see that, I'm like, hey, wait a minute. Have you filed for disability? What is your connection to the VA? And they're like, I don't need it. I don't want it. You served. You were a shiny new penny when you went in, and now you come out. You're not that shiny new penny anymore. I don't care what you did in the military. You served,
Yeah.
gave your time to the country. You wore the cloth. It's time for you to be taken care of. So I try to put that in their to-do lists. And even if they don't want to, I'll sit beside them. And we have our county veteran service officer come in once a month, and they work claims with our guys. And we sit there, and especially if they get denied the first time, get defeated, and they're like, I'm never going to get this done. No, the VA is telling you, here's what we need. Here's what you didn't provide us. Keep at it, because you're leaving money on the table that you earned. So we always try to get them connected with the VA, get them their benefits, get them up to the outpatient clinics or to the VA hospitals, and give them the support and care that they need, that they've earned. Because we're really good at equipping, training, and giving you everything you need to go and do America's bidding. We're not so good on the back end of taking care of our vets and making sure that they have everything they still need, because we've asked them to do these things, and we do. But then it's not the same on the back end, which is why we exist. And we're trying to fill that gap. And that only happens when people open up their wallets, because this is not a national funded or state funded. We get grants from the states, but most of our money comes from private citizens, and they just donate to us because they have their family served, their brother, uncle, whoever served, and they have a soft spot. And thank God they had that soft spot, because if they didn't, we wouldn't exist.
You know, you mentioned this, that there's the VA, you know, they've got opportunities out there and programs, and you know, yes, they do, but there's often so many hoops you have to jump through.
Oh God, yeah.
To get through those. And you know, I was talking to a guy the other day that they have this organization where they go and they build do home modifications and ramps. Yep. And it was interesting because they had just finished with a guy who had gone out from I think it was a broken hip, and they told him it was going to take 3 months for them to get a ramp into his house. And this private company was like, yeah, we'll just go out and do it.
Yep.
Because like, what's I going to do 3 months later? And, you know, I think there's a bigger story here, and I want to get your thoughts on this. So when you're in the military, you know, you can't make decisions.
Yeah.
And in a lot of cases, you get punished if you do, even if it's a good decision.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, you just go do your own thing there. And it creates this feeling of threat in us when it comes to actually making a decision. And when you come out of the military, you come out of that environment where for years and years you've been just told, sit against the wall until we tell you what to do, and you do exactly what we say. And if you make any decision other than that, we're gonna, you know, punish you hard. You might lose pay, even. And how much of an impact do you think that makes on the homeless issue? On when people come out and they have to make all their decisions.
Yeah, that is a barrier I see all the time. It's kind of when you separate, the world flips upside down, because now you make the decisions. You're not told what to do. It's what do you want to do? But especially, you know, 4 years, okay, it's still, you know, it still translates. People still carry that with them. It takes time. But if you're a 20-year guy, or you know, that's tough. It's tough to transition back. And people just dream about it while they're serving, like, oh, I'm 5 more years, you know, 10 more years, whatever it is. And it finally comes and you're like, oh crap, what do I do? And you have to figure it out. And that's where some vets stumble. They're not prepared. They weren't counseled enough, or just didn't have the right tools at the time to transition. And that's where we see some issues. And even sometimes if that stumble in service, the military is a very, very strict environment in life. And people make mistakes. We're human beings. We're going to make mistakes.
Right.
And sometimes that follows them. If you get other than honorable or, general discharge, that's still under the honorable umbrella, but, it creates stigma. Yeah, it stays with them for something that they did maybe 15 years ago, but it's still with them, and that carries. And that's a barrier to some vets. But we when we get these men and women in here, we kind of put things in perspective. Like, yep, okay, you had a misstep here. It's not the end of the world. Let's get you back on your feet. Because, it's in the military where just take care of it. It's all going to work out. Just stiffen up. You'll get through it. Sometimes that works and sometimes that doesn't. Especially when you don't have the support structure that you used to coming out. Because you have all kinds of people around you. You have brothers and sisters around you that you went everywhere with and you served with. And so they knew when something was wrong. They could tell right away. And then when you're not around that, you don't have that buddy saying, hey, man, is everything okay? Like, you look down today. Or, hey, I didn't see you at so-and-so's this weekend. What's going on? That community, and it gets real tough. And people can go to dark places pretty quickly. So we're out here to remind, hey, we have a veteran community here. We're going to wrap our arms around you and help you and get you back to where you need to be. And the cool thing about us, because we're a nonprofit, because we do get these donations, it doesn't cost the vets anything while they're here. We don't charge them a dime. So they have a roof over their head. They have showers, bathrooms, a big kitchen area, and then they have the marketplace across the street. So they get their food for free. They live here rent free. Typical stay is 14 months. Max stay is 2 years. And in those approximate 14 months, they really can turn their life around and really kind of dissect where things went wrong and how to make it better. And we have a lot of connections with our local organizations and companies that want to take these vets in, that want that kind of work ethic that we bring to an organization. You tell me to do something, I'm going to do it. I'm not going to ask you questions. I'm just going to go do it.
Just execute.
Yeah, I execute. And that's a vet. That's kind of what we bring. And employers love that. We don't really question it too much unless it's safety related or whatever. But, we're going to get the job done. And we're not going to need a 10-page term paper on why we need to do it. So we, and our companies here know that, and they love working with us, and they love bringing our guys in that are good fits for them with the skill sets. Because in the military, we have a ton of skill sets. You think about the Navy and the Air Force and what it takes to keep a ship running, to keep planes in the air, to keep subs. There's lathes, there's machining, there's aircraft maintenance, there's all kinds of stuff that are transferable and useful skills. So we have a ton to offer still. Sometimes you just got to dig back in your history and be like, yeah, wait a minute, I can get back on my feet and use these skills that I learned in the military for a good purpose.
Yeah, and I like what you're talking about with the conditioning, and you actually answered my next question. I was going to say, like, how is there a limit to how long people can stay? And I think it's amazing that, like you're talking about, bring them in, teach them these new skills, and adjust that mindset. Just that the one thing you said there about, hey, you had some bad things happen.
Yeah,
that's okay. That there is something that no one hears in the military.
Right.
No one hears, hey, you messed up. That's okay. Any mistake, all right, now someone died.
Yeah.
And that is, it hits you. It really impacts you deeply. And it's, yeah, you become functional in those environments, but then you get out and like none of that works anymore. And they just go, all right, get out there and go. And yeah, the guy I was talking to the other day was talking about this homeless stuff and how he's like, you get all these people that, especially like the Army vets that are used to, like these infantry guys that are out there just living in the dirt.
Yeah.
And they come out and it's like, okay, now you got to go make all these decisions. And that feels threatening. Like,
Yeah.
Okay, like what do I need to do? When do I need to do it? Where do I need to go? Who's going to go with me? It's like, oh, just whenever you want. You're like,
Yeah.
ooh, that is so wildly uncomfortable. And it's crazy to think of this for like civilians. I don't think would ever quite understand this, but in a lot of ways, it would feel more comfortable living on the streets without anything. Because like we've dealt with being hungry, we've dealt with all of that, and we'll figure out how to make it through. But yeah, when you don't have that reconditioning, and when you get out, they've got their, every branch has their training stuff to get you back in gear for being a civilian for 2 weeks. But man, it's not enough to do that conditioning.
Yeah.
And to break that out of them. One of the things I really want to see here. So when you talked about like you were in the corporate world, then you came to work for Veterans Outreach of Wisconsin. And I'm sure there was a lot of like building for you where it's like, oh man, this is not right. This doesn't feel right. Was there a moment for you that was like, man, this is it. I'm ready to make the jump?
Yeah, I think it took a while because again, I was like, I'm supposed to do this. This is what I was told to do. I'm supposed to do this.
Someone told you this was the mission.
They told me,
and you're like, it doesn't feel right.
Yeah, it doesn't. So after about 2 years of 5 days a week, 8 to 10 hours a day in a cubicle, I just started getting really drained out. And then work kept kind of creeping in and creeping in and creeping in. So then I find myself on weeknights opening my laptop and doing spreadsheets and figuring out what I got to do tomorrow and why didn't this work during the test run at the plant or whatever. And then it started on the weekends and I'm opening my laptop and I'm like, you know what? I just did this for 23 years in the Air Force. I gave my life and soul to them. I kind of don't want to run this rat race anymore. And I want to get back with vets. Like I just missed that connection and that purpose. And I said, you know what? Money's great, but it's not everything. I can live comfortably. I'm retired from the Air Force. I have that pension. I can give back in a meaningful way, and still be fine. And that was my kind of last kind of thinking on it was, okay, I'm just going to go do this. And if it works out, great. If it doesn't, okay. But at least I tried. And so far, so good.
Nice. When you, after like transitioning over and with working with Veterans Outreach in Wisconsin, have there been any barriers or obstacles that you've come across that were really unexpected?
No. So this is my first time working directly for a nonprofit. So all the, I don't want to say politicking, but posturing for grants, posturing to get the right connections with private donors or bringing in people in those organizations to tour and show them what we do. And that's the cool thing about us really is we're not national, we're local. So when we have these companies and organizations that are local to us, we have S.E. Johnson here. We have Northwestern Mutual. We have Case, Incinerator. We have all these headquartered companies right here in Southeast Wisconsin. And when they give, we can actually say, that's the house you bought. There's a veteran in there right now that's getting better. And then to, our donors, we just got Amazon. So when they come and see our marketplace and they're like, that stuff you just donated to us, it's right there on the shelf. You can see it. And then the family's walking through, getting their food for the week. The fact that you can see where your donations are going and how it's helping these people get back on their feet. You're not clicking on a website saying, "Oh, look, that's a pretty picture, and I think my money went there." No, come see it, because we're working with your money. We're working to make this place better, to make vets' lives better, and that, just doing that and showing them is a huge benefit to us, that they can see the growth in our organization.
That's really neat. That's for a organization like you guys to be able to say, come see your money at work. Because most time you don't get that.
No, you don't. And so, our tiny homes out back, they're not that big, but it's a roof, it's a bed, it's a microwave, it's a closet, AC for the summer, heat for the winter. They're nice. And I've lived in a lot smaller when I was deployed. The first time I walked in here and walked through, that's what popped in my mind was, this feels like a deployment. It's not set up like a deployment. It's a lot nicer. So you have creature comforts here. We have Wi-Fi, but you walk through and we have community showers, community washer and dryer, community kitchen area, nice big stove donated by Milwaukee Tool. The kitchen area was built by Milwaukee Tool. S.E. Johnson donated the funds. But again, they donated those funds and we put it straight to use. We built this big kitchen area. We built this nice big community area for our vets. And it's just, when we get these funds, we put it to such good use. And I was talking about the tiny homes and being a little small, but, definitely better than what it could be. We have this community area by design. We want these vets to come in, because if we gave them a kitchen and a bathroom in there, you may never see them again. Because they have their bed, they're just going to chill. And I get that. But that's all in our community area. So we put eyes on them. We talk to them every day. We make sure everything's going good. And, we have it really, it makes the community tighter, because everybody knows everybody. And sometimes, things work great. And sometimes there's little, people are people. So they're gonna, hey, that's my plate of food, or hey, no, that's my fork. And we get through it. But it's good because they're around other vets. They're around other people that have experienced what they have. We've got some guys that were in Helmand Province. We've got some guys that were in Desert Storm. And then we have a few of the Vietnam era. So there's a whole widespread experience, and then tool sets that, especially for our older vets, that are here, they have a different perspective. And that's one of the things that also too is in our veteran communities. Sometimes our older vets, they didn't have the resources that we do now when they left. So they didn't have transition assistance. They didn't have these classes to help them out. They didn't have any of that. So it's just like they left the military and they said, "See you later. Have fun. Thanks for serving." And now
your Vietnam vets, not only did they not have the support, they had quite the opposite. Of that.
Absolutely.
So even when the support started happening, there's a lot of them that would just be like, no, I want to hide have a shame of it.
And I think they expressed that to me, that when they came back, they didn't trust the VA. They didn't trust the government, because they were getting all kinds of flack for what they were doing over there. And it was a different time, different political scene. I get it. But it just created this distrust in them that people were out to get them, and they weren't going to get the help they needed. So that generation went through that, but because they went through that, we were able to fix it. Thankfully, thank God. And it's still not perfect. It's not perfect at all. but there's other tools in there. There's other resources and classes that our vets can take advantage of. Like the Army has a soldier for life. Air Force has, the Airman for life, or Marines have the Marine for life. But so it's gotten better, but it's still not where it needs to be. Like I said, we're really good at funding and equipping on the front end, not so good at doing that on the back end. So we're trying to get that better.
Well, I actually love your guys' setup. Like you're talking about the kitchen being separate, and how like, hey, these places small, kind of like a deployment. I think that's needed because the problem that so many vets have when they get out is we're trained to, especially if you've been deployed, you're trained to only trust people that look like you, talk like you, think like you, and that environment has to be very it's very specific. And when you put them in an environment that's really small, most people, like you're saying, the different perspectives here, most Americans will look at it and be like, oh, this is really small. Whereas a veteran might look at it, especially if it's someone who's struggled to transition, they're gonna look at it and be like, this feels right. Then you basically got, sounds like a DFAC. Where they're going out like, okay, this I'm familiar with. And they have to interact in little ways. Doesn't have to be a lot, but it'll grow. And I think that's where, you guys are doing the right thing there by like making it kind of like the military to make it feel familiar. And, it's interesting because I think so many vets, they don't respond to the normal polite ways that people communicate and interact in the regular world. And there was a gentleman I was talking to a couple weeks ago that was saying that basically had like a community thing they were doing, and this guy came in, they saw him, and they were like, yeah, this guy is not gonna like this. He started to turn around. They said, hey, come here. Come here. Hey, do this. And the guy was just doing it and ended up loving it and getting in, because they were very direct, spoke to him in a way that most people would be like, that's rude, that's mean. But they don't understand that transition, so, I talk about the infantry mentality. I was infantry. And I remember we had a guy that was in our unit about a year before I got out. And it was one of the weirdest things. This guy, so we just had our first sergeant screaming at us to go do stuff. And as we're walking out of the tent, Sergeant Mollenhauer looks over and he goes, it's just this new guy. He just got into us a couple days earlier, and looks at us and said, hey, please. And I'm going to tell you, I don't know that I've ever felt so threatened. Like, he said that, like, what the? What are you saying to me? Like, what is going on here? It was weird because it stuck with me for like days. I was, what? And they're like, then you interact with him a little more. He'd always say please. He'd always say thank you. And you realize, like, this guy's just, I think he's just nice, which is weird. And I don't, like,
And, it's uncommon for somebody that's new to a unit, especially new to the service, to still have their own personality almost. Like, usually you're just trying to fit in. I'm not going to make waves. I'm going to do what I'm told, and then I'm going to go home, whether that be in the dorms or off base or whatever. And, the veteran humor and the veteran dialogue and outlook, it's on display every day back in our community area. I go back there, chopping it up, and I'm like, oh, man. But it's familiar to us. And we have a unique sense of humor in how we interact with people. And I'm like, I walk by some of the guys and they'll make a joke. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. But for somebody else, they'd be like, what did he just say? What's going on? And I'm like, no, that's just that's just him. He's just trying to see the reaction he can get out of you. But yeah, it's just we're used to it, and so the guys and girls are comfortable, and they don't freak out when things like that happen. You know, they're just like, yeah, that's just him.
That's
but
actually
it's common language.
Yeah, I tell everyone, all my friends from the military that are like getting out, and they're like, hey, like what, you know, what's it like being a civilian? Like what things to prepare for? And like, you don't know any jokes. Like you don't know any jokes. You need to get that through your head. Like, no, I know lots of jokes. No, you don't. No, you don't. Because like here's what's gonna happen. You're gonna get in the civilian world, you're gonna be at your job, you're gonna be talking, people are telling jokes, and you say a joke and it real quickly goes from ha 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 to
HR here.
Yep. It's like I'm just gonna walk myself to HR. And it's like, hey, you can't say that. You can't joke about that. But it's funny. It's it's you just don't have that when you get out. And that kind of environment you're having, you guys have provided a place for them to be in that familiar environment and feel comfortable enough to start transitioning through it.
Yep.
And I think it's amazing, you're going to have in that so many people at different levels of that transition.
Yeah.
And that's powerful. That's something that will continue to scale and to allow all the new people to come in and be seeing those different levels. I think it's really, really cool. So for you guys, like you're talking about how like all the good stuff, this and all that. Is there anything? All right, I want to rephrase this. So you're talking about the benefits, the things, the good habits that we have as veterans. But earlier you mentioned, we've got a lot of specific things that are like good, that are, bad habits.
Yeah.
Are there any of those habits from the military that you feel like have been kind of for you, like still a struggle, or things that like, this is one of those habits I have to like keep in check?
Yeah, I think a big one for me, just moving around so much in the military, because they're there for 2 to 4 years, sometimes less, sometimes more, but it's always hi and goodbye. Like you don't really establish those roots that you would in a community if you stayed there. We leave our friends and our family. They all stay behind. They still have, they start families, they plant deeper roots, and they get that. We don't. We're constantly on the go. We're going 100 miles an hour. And I think, just opening up to people and being real with them can be a challenge for veterans, because we're just so used to having acquaintances and not really close friendships. And that can be a struggle. And that's what we see, sometimes, especially if a veteran loses connection with their family, they usually, if that happens, they usually didn't have a strong circle of friends either. And that's when we see hardships, when they lose that community. And I think that's also due to service, because we just don't make those deep connections usually that our counterparts in the civilian world do. So just opening up to people and putting that wall down is very difficult for vets sometimes. And that's what I've seen. That's what I've experienced. I did it. And I see it in our residents too. So it's just, we have to just learn to trust more, which is tough, but to have those tough conversations as well, to open up.
Yeah.
That takes time.
It's interesting that you say that about like that there's different, or that we don't develop those deeper relationships, because I think most veterans would on face value disagree with that and say no, we develop very deep, close relationships. And you got people that, hey, like I served with him this place and then they went over there, whatever, but then we reconnected somewhere.
Yeah.
Even though like the closeness is different, because you do have this like tight knit trust with everyone, but at the same time, you kind of view each person, yourself included, as just a cog. You're just a piece of that machine. And like you said, you know that at any given point, no matter how close you are with someone, they could leave or you could get reassigned the next day.
Yeah.
And that does make it really hard to actually develop true closeness.
Yeah. I mean, the things, the experiences that we share and go through when you're at the unit, when you're around your battle buddies or whoever, you can get close, and you do, but eventually one of you is going to leave,
right?
No matter what. That's one thing one of my bosses always told me. They said, John, if you don't like your boss, just give it 2 to 4 years. They're going to leave. And they were right. Yeah. They will leave. Either I'll leave or they'll leave. But I just think, during the tour or the deployment, whatever, yes, you are close. Yes, you go through things together that do bond you. But keeping that bond for 20 years, for 30 years is rare. I've seen. So I think that's where we really have to recognize, okay, I know a lot of people, but they're scattered all over the world.
Right.
And it's not like I'm going to go to, hey, Eric, we were serving together from 2004 to 2008 in Iraq or, Germany or whatever. He's my next door neighbor. No, that's not the case. That guy is away probably in Texas or California or maybe even overseas. He's an expat. You never know.
Yeah.
And then when we come back and we like when I settled in to my home and my neighborhood, they're like, well, so where are you coming from? Like, well, I'm a Air Force guy. I'm a vet, just retired. And like, okay, what'd you do? So I tried to explain. I was like, well, I was a chief. And they're like, a what? What's that?
Yeah.
And then I just go, I was logistics.
Yeah.
I was munitions. I just leave it at that because they just don't know. Which is sad, but understandable because we've been at war for so long during GWAT. And, you'd think people would know a little bit more about the military, but they don't.
Yeah, they don't. And it's interesting because like you say that about how, you got people that you're close to and they've been around other places and you may talk to them, but you're not really close. And it's funny because my wife even talks about that, how she's like, man, there's so many vets out there, that so many people you talk to and you get along great. And she goes, it's so funny because you'll always say, yeah, we need to get together. We need to get together and hang out.
Yeah.
We need to get together and do this. She's like, you guys always say that.
Yeah.
And you never do.
Notorious for it.
It's like, you never do. It's like,
yeah.
Like we know we're not going to.
Yeah.
And, but it's, I think part of that is that kind of fear of, or not even fear, but just like, we're not close that way. And we know that. I think that's one of the biggest things that you guys are doing here is not just providing the homes and safety and those things, which is very needed, but the community.
Yeah.
That is, it's so important. And, the closeness part. So like when I was in, my wife at the time, she ended up coming back early because she was trying to get our stuff settled back home, and they've been playing this whole, your discharge paperwork is on General's desk, and it'll be here tomorrow for 6 months.
Yeah.
And it was funny because I was living in the barracks while she was gone, and there was a point where I was telling her, like, yeah, me and my roommate are going to do this or that, and I've been rooming with this guy for almost a month, and she goes, "What's his name?" So you keep saying to your roommate, like, "What's his name?" And it hit me like, I actually don't know, because the only times I saw him in the morning when we were in our PTs, and then I always got off after he did when he was back in civvies, and it was weird because like I realized, man, I haven't asked someone their name in forever because it's just right. It's right there.
It's on the uniform. Yeah.
Right. I've never asked it. I didn't even think about it.
Yep.
And it was so weird. It's like, I don't even like this guy that I'd hang out with every night, but I never thought. It never mattered to ask what his name was.
Yep. And that's I mean, we don't learn first names in the military. We don't use them. It's always last name or, your rank.
Right.
It's never, I never once heard, "Hey, John, what are you doing?" It was never like that. So we know each other, but then it's also this, not calling by someone by their first name is weird to the rest of the population. It's, but we just didn't
connected in a way that it's deep in some ways, but there's a hard line.
Yep.
That connection doesn't cross.
Yep. And that's very common.
Yeah. So, all right, with what you guys are doing here, one of the things that, again, with like the Beyond the Yellow thing, we talked about, there's all these things you guys are doing, and there's other organizations out there, and there's so many people that are wanting to do something. I'm a firm believer that everybody has some kind of a mission, a purpose, something that they've got in the back of their head that's like, hey, I want to do this, but I'm afraid to start. I don't know how to do it. What you guys are doing here, like some of it would take quite a bit, like building the houses and zoning and things, but the marketplace, like get people to get food out or have, for those people that are thinking, man, I don't know where to start, or scared to start.
Yeah.
Like, what would you say for those people? Like, what would you say to them about going after that?
Yeah, I'd say start small. And I'd say come see us, especially if you're local and you want to help vets. Our marketplace needs more. Like I said earlier, a year and a half ago, we were at 400 some families a month. Fast forward to now, we're at 950 exactly. So the need just keeps increasing and increasing. So if somebody wants to give back and help, do a food drive, collect canned foods, veg, fruits, and drop it off to our marketplace. It'll go straight back to the veteran community and to our residents. Volunteer. Come on, we could always use volunteers to help us in the marketplace, especially the stocking shelves, making sure our food is not past its due date or shelf life. We have a couple big freezers because when we get these donations from companies, they want to be sure that their product is going to stay fresh, right? They don't want the product coming out to the community moldy and whatever. So we do have a good process next door to make sure that the stuff that we receive stays fresh and is ready for the use. But we've lost a couple donors lately as well due to either the downsizing of the company or they're just closing and moving somewhere else. We just lost Kroger, which was a big benefit to us. So when we lose those big donors, we have to find somebody to make it up. And like I said, sometimes those shelves are nice and stocked, and sometimes you're getting some soup, which sucks. but that's just what it is. And without these people giving to this cause, it doesn't happen. Like we don't have a corporate fund that's going to come in and fund and save us. Like it is just basically the kindness of people opening up their wallets and helping us help vets.
I like that. So if you got someone that they're wanting to do something, they don't even have to start their own thing. They don't have to.
No.
They can start off just attaching to what you guys are doing.
Yeah.
Or whatever the local place is doing.
Yep. Come see us, talk to us, start a food drive, start a donation bucket. I don't know. Like we even have Eagle Scouts that come here to earn their Eagle Scout badge by doing a big project out back. So they'll do ramps, gardens, steps for the houses, making sure that the houses are still in working order. So all kinds of ways to give back here. I mean, you can come over here and help us mow the lawn or weed eat or paint the inside of a tiny home that needs it. Tons of ways to give back. Doesn't have to be money all the time. We love money. We need it. But, there's other ways to give back. Maybe it's just spreading awareness. If you're a business owner or you have an event, invite us. We'll just be there for awareness, just to let more of the community know what we're doing and how they can help and how they can make us grow and continue our mission to give back to these vets in need.
I like that. I like that. Start small, little things. I think that's a big thing. People think, it's something big. They think about the end goal where they want to be, and it doesn't have to be.
People come in, they're like, well, I want to start a tiny home village. That's great. Your mind's in the right place. Starting a nonprofit, fighting for grants, fighting for donations, getting city approval to do this kind of stuff. It's a lot, right? So if you want to do that eventually, my hat's off to you. But come see the operation, come help first and get a good idea. And then maybe, like Green Bay. Green Bay just opened up Vets First. And they're already full. They haven't actually opened their doors yet. They're still under construction. And they have 22, I think, tiny homes. And they already have a waiting list out the door.
Oh my gosh.
They haven't even opened and they have a waiting list out the door. That's insane. It's terrible. I mean, thank God they're up there now. But I don't even know what to say about that.
Man, yeah. Well, and it's amazing that it's organizations like you guys that are making the biggest impact.
Yeah.
The VA, I think the VA is a great organization.
Yeah.
I think they do a lot of good. But when you get so big, there becomes so much red tape and everything that you lose the simplicity in a lot of these things of what it takes to help people. And it becomes so much I can't help but think, man, if they you think how much money they spend on the homelessness issues and all of that, if they took that money and redirected it to organizations like you guys that are out there doing that work, that really your heart is in this, driving at it, rather than someone in an office building somewhere that's just writing policy without being on the ground, without seeing what that's doing. That I feel like that can make so much of a difference. And it's just great that there are organizations like you guys and people like you that are out there putting that work in to fill those gaps in, eliminate those barriers, and get these vets what they need.
And we're not perfect. We're trying to improve all the time. But this service that we provide that is funded by our community, by our local government with grants and the approvals that we get to expand, It's so great to see the results of what we do. And I was honestly surprised because I've lived in some large areas, big bases, big military population. Everybody knows that the military's area, the Air Force, Army, Marines, whatever, they know us, right? And you come up to Wisconsin, it's not a big military state. So
Right.
they don't have a big connection. I mean, we have the Guard and we have Fort McCoy up there, but it's not like North Carolina or Texas or California that have these huge military populations. So I was surprised when I came in to see the level of support that we receive from the community for our vets. And it's great because if we didn't have that in our community, if we didn't have people behind this cause pushing it, there would be such a gap in services for our vets up here. It would be terrible to lose us because we see the need all the time. I have 2 to 3 applicants a week that want to come in. Some fit the bill, some don't. And if they don't fit the bill, we point them in the right direction. We say, hey, here's some services you can use. Here's some resources that will help you through this. So we don't take everybody. We can't take everybody.
Right.
We definitely try to point them in the right direction and get them the help that they need.
And that's got to be a very hard part of it is saying no to people that, like try and make that decision on who needs it the most.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it tugs at your heartstrings. I'm telling you, when you have to tell a homeless vet, I'm sorry, but you don't qualify, which happens. But there's other resources around here that we give them. Like Union Grove has the Fair Trial home, so they're set up to take, and they have a clinic right there in Union Grove. And then there's homeless shelters around, and then there's the VA in Milwaukee that they have homeless vet programs, and now Green Bay has theirs, and then Rhinelander, I believe, is trying to start up, but they're not there yet. But yeah, I think, geez, it's a growing business footprint, I guess.
Yeah.
What is needed, it's just it's tough to undertake, but once you get it going and get the funding, to see what we do is just amazing to me.
Well, I think that's, you're saying like it's growing. The problem is growing, and that's why the solutions are growing too. And I think that there's a lot of people out there, like yourselves, where you're pushing that awareness, you're showing people that this can be done.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the benefits of all the social media stuff is you can see where these things are making an impact. You can see how, hey, people can do this. And that's the point of what we're doing here today is showing people that, this can be done. And, you came from the Air Force and, no offense, John, but you don't seem like anything special. Doesn't seem like it doesn't seem like you I had this trust fund and that's what I used to fund this stuff, or I had, you're not, you have nothing special in your skills maybe, or things but the attitude, the desire and the willingness and the courage to say, I'm gonna go out there and take action and do this. That's the thing that does make you special. That makes you that's the inspiration.
I appreciate it. I mean, I'm an average Joe, hands down. I am your run-of-the-mill American. But I saw the need, and I wanted that purpose back, and so I jumped in. I jumped in with both feet, and I'm really glad I did. But so I just want to say before I forget, if people want to help, they can go to our website, valvillages.com, and there's a
Okay.
QR code on there. They can give to the pantry. They can give to the tiny homes. We also have 22 for 22. So you can sign up and donate $22 a month. That will help sponsor one of our residents in back to get back on their feet. And that's at, the 22 vets a day statistically will end up taking their life. So we partnered with that. So if you donate $22 a month, it helps run our organization. And then if you're a corporation or just somebody with a trust fund that wants to do something great, come see us. We always use the help.
Awesome. I like that. Well, we'll put a link. I'll put a link in the description of the video.
Yeah.
Try to put one of those pop-up links on here that has that, so people can go on and real easy do that. And remind me, which city are you guys in?
We're in Racine. We're on Youch Street in Racine, 1624 Youch Street.
Okay.
So
anyone if they're in Wisconsin, go out to Racine, check out what you guys are doing, see if there's anything you guys can do to help. And and if you're not around there, find somewhere similar.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or heck, even if you're in California, apparently.
Yep.
You're there to help.
I mean, these programs are needed nationwide. So just give us a shout if you're thinking, hey, I'm in Arkansas and I want to start a tiny home village. Okay, sweet. Get it going because it's needed. I can tell you right now, it's needed. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, John, again, thank you so much for your time here. Really hope everyone that's watching this gets something out of it and goes check you guys out. So we're gonna hop off and
all right.
All
right, Luke, thank you for your time. Appreciate the opportunity and to spread the awareness.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.